writing and implementation of the curriculum all the way through pre-K to 12. And it's the understanding and adherence to the state and national standards, which are a moving target sometimes, the development, maintenance, and monitoring of curriculum rigor at each level, development and maintenance of K to 12 sequence with horizontal, so across grade level alignment, as well as vertical from grade to grade alignment, and then facilitation of a regular curricular revision cycle. The next area that curriculum has oversight of is assessment. And there's a lot of alphabet soup up there for you, but national assessments include the AP, the ACT, SAT, the NAEP, PSAT, and the PLAN assessments. Then there are the state assessments. There's their PSSAs, the Keystones, and the PBAs, the project-based assessments. There are district assessments that need oversight. Those are the classroom diagnostic assessments, the Keystone exams in grade 3, the common course assessments in all courses, DIBELS, which is given to the primary in K to 2, and the Fontes and Pinnell reading assessment in K to 5. Within the classroom itself are formative and summative assessments, and then with common final assessments and department units of study assessments. There is the K to 5 standards-based report card. There is the grade reporting now that is part of Infinite Campus with our technology. And then the last bullet is management of PVOS, eMetric, School Performance Profile, and eDirect, which are sites to manipulate the data that we get from those assessments. The third area is instruction. So we now have an educator effectiveness evaluation process. So part of curriculum is leadership with that teacher evaluation process, which is teacher observation and practice, looking at building level data, the SLOs, which are the student learning objective, development process, and support. There's the teacher-specific data that has to be looked at. There's elective data. And then there's the instructional area, the scheduling, lesson planning, implementation, and the use, making sure that teachers are using best practices. And then the last one is using data to drive instruction, giving support to the buildings for that. Other leadership responsibilities include staying current with state and federal laws and trends and all the different, the ESEA is the Elementary and Secondary Education Act. You know what No Child Left Behind is, and then the last one, which we can't see, is Every Student Succeeds Act. So there's additional and ongoing acts and things that come up that need leadership. The next bullet, providing leadership for professional staff development. It's not only just the MTSD initiatives, but PBE initiatives that we have to work with our teachers on. Overseeing home education, facilitating the district's comprehensive plan, supporting the meetings such as tonight for instruction and student services, supporting selected grants, curriculum department budget development and oversight, and interfacing with educational technology alignment. Technology never stands on its own. It's for curricular use. It's for helping students learn, so there has to be that connection and alignment. So what are we looking at for secondary curricular focus? Some basic areas include things like facilitating the building level and department meetings, assisting the building principals in observing and evaluating the district staff, maintaining the focus on curriculum and instruction alignment at the classroom level, facilitating training and preparations for standardized testing, supervising curricular development at all levels, developing and maintaining schedules for curriculum development and purchasing of resources, and working with the classroom teachers within and across the grades to ensure that vertical and horizontal alignment we had talked about earlier. Drilling down a little bit further, more in-depth areas of focus is what we want to take a look at and we want to get to is training staff on administrative procedures and protocols related to local classroom assessment development. If you could go, Tom, to the next slide there. Yes, thank you. Supervising the implementation of those performance-based assessments, including collecting related data regarding outcome and program success, working with the school teams on the administration of the state assessments, and again, the collection and interpretation of the data. So you're probably getting a sense that it's that increased need for use of the data. Entering and retrieving data, including the analysis and creation of program and classroom reports at all levels, constructing and managing school-level reports by student group, classroom, and subject regarding performance, and then working with administration to establish goals and procedures to improve the program's instruction and staff development relating to assessment curriculum and school data. Researching and responding to administrative inquiries and data analysis related to program and school improvement. Preparing monthly reports for the admin meetings that we have each month so that administrators can take a look at classroom, local, and state assessment regarding how our students are learning. And then preparing monthly agendas and leading administrative meetings for consistency of practice and implementation across the secondary buildings. So to summarize, since 2010, there has been a significant addition to the workload at both the elementary and the secondary curricular levels in both scope. An example of scope might be the increase in use of technology, and in accountability, and by that I'm looking at the state and federal requirements. So the Pennsylvania teacher effectiveness, time, and support requirements that are there for the building principals required through observing, evaluating, and making instructional recommendations. There's been an expansion of the need for the interpretation, analysis, and the recommendations of all standardized data. There's a critical need for the support in the application of all of the testing that we're currently doing to classroom instruction and assessment, and the need for in-depth curricular and instructional sequencing and alignment that's happening. And at the elementary level, that supervisor is also going to be in charge of the child development program, the staffing and the programs there. So to adequately lead and facilitate the secondary curriculum, assessment, and instruction processes, in a district our size, additional directorial support is needed.
Can I ask a question?
Of course.
When we started out, going back to 06, I think, and we had 8 people facilitating, like helping the curriculum directors facilitate all of this. And I know that more regulation and mandates have come down since then.
Yes.
And this might be a hard question to answer, but with this drop in curriculum oversight, people to do one person to people, have we seen a drop in our academic standing?
I would say no, because it is a team effort. The teachers, the principals, the central office, we're all working toward the same goal. But it does have an impact. I think the scope has expanded. You're talking about how can we make strides to improve even more. We need to use data. We need to dive into the high school data, the ACT. We need to dive into the PSSAs that are new assessments now, and really help facilitate teachers and principals to use that data to move ourselves.
I've looked at some of our schools' scores, and some of the middle schools have done fantastic. Some of the other schools are they're just meeting the minimum. And I guess my question is with this, I don't know how one person does all of this and then puts into place the programs, the processes, and the reviews the data to improve our scores, and we have to improve these scores. And that's my concern. That's why I wondered if we went from 8 to 2, was there any type of drop? And I believe when you say no, but it just seems like we're asking so much more of our students, and we want to see these scores go up. We can't keep doing what we have been doing. We have to improve the way what we're teaching and how we're teaching it and how we're assessing it, and then bringing that data back in.
I wouldn't say we've dropped. I would say that we haven't grown to the extent that we can. And I would also say our PSSA and ELA and math, this is only our 2nd year with that new test. So it's even really hard to gauge, to answer that type of question with that data. So I think our answer, I really don't think we've dropped, just kind of looking at the history of our PSSA
So we've been
performance.
flatlined,
I would say.
but you believe with an introduction of another person, so you're taking, and I think you're taking K through 8, someone else doing 9 through 12, will allow us to better utilize the data that we're getting from these tests to start to come out of this flat line.
Yes.
So that our school standings start to increase.
Right. We've put all of our energy the last few years really in trying to make sure that the business office is sound and the structure is there and the internal consistency is there. I believe it's time now that we really focus on the educational piece. And part of that is supporting our building principals with that leadership at the building level, so that we can take the data that we're giving and actually use it to drive the decision making within the buildings and improve the instruction. We have